Ever wondered what makes someone appear wise? Is it their age, their experiences, or something else entirely? While life experience certainly plays a role, wisdom often reveals itself through specific behaviors and attitudes. Think about people you consider wise. What is it about them that gives you that impression? The way they carry themselves, the way they listen, the way they respond to the world around them. From a recent research, we bring to you some of these key behaviors and attitudes that can make you appear, and more importantly, become wiser. Because a long life doesn't necessarily equal a wise one, but a life lived with intention, with openness, that's a life that leads to wisdom. We live in a world that often feels like a cacophony of voices, everyone vying for attention, everyone eager to share their thoughts. But true wisdom often lies in silence, in the act of listening. Think about it. How often do you really listen to someone, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but truly absorbing their words, trying to understand their perspective? It's harder than it seems, isn't it? Wise people understand the power of listening. They know that every interaction, every conversation, is an opportunity to learn something new. They don't approach conversations as a battle to be won, but rather as a chance to connect, to empathize, to broaden their own understanding. The next time you're in a conversation, try to really listen. Put aside your own thoughts for a moment and focus on the other person. Pay attention to their words, their tone, their body language. You might be surprised by what you learn, not just about them, but about yourself as well. Because listening isn't passive, it's an active process, one that requires empathy, focus, and a genuine desire to understand. And in a world that often feels fractured and divided, the ability to truly listen, to bridge the gaps between us, that's a kind of superpower. It's a superpower that can lead to greater understanding, stronger relationships, and a deeper sense of wisdom. So, the next time you feel the urge to interject, to offer your opinion, take a breath, lean in, and just listen. You might be surprised by what you hear. Empathy. It's a word we hear a lot, but what does it really mean? At its core, empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It's about stepping outside of your own experience and trying to see the world through someone else's eyes. Now you might be thinking, John, what does empathy have to do with wisdom? Well, I'd argue that empathy is essential to wisdom. Because wisdom isn't just about accumulating knowledge, it's about understanding people, about navigating the complexities of human relationships. And you can't truly understand people without empathy. Without the ability to connect with their experiences, to feel their joys and sorrows as your own, you're limited to a superficial understanding of the world. Empathy allows us to see beyond our own biases, our own preconceived notions. It helps us to recognize that everyone has a story, everyone is carrying burdens we may know nothing about. So how do we cultivate empathy? It starts with listening, with truly paying attention to the people around us. It means asking questions, seeking to understand their perspectives, even when they're different from our own. It means challenging our own assumptions, acknowledging that our way isn't the only way and that sometimes we might be wrong. And that's okay. Because making mistakes is part of being human. It's what we do with those mistakes, how we learn and grow from them, that truly matters. So let's strive to be more empathetic, more understanding, more compassionate. Let's build bridges instead of walls, and let's approach every interaction with a willingness to learn and grow. Because empathy isn't just a sign of wisdom, it's a path towards it. Chapter 3. The wisdom of patience. In our fast-paced world, patience can feel like a lost art. We want instant gratification, immediate results. But wisdom often reveals itself in the quiet moments of reflection, in the willingness to wait, to observe, to let things unfold in their own time. Think about it. How often have you rushed into a decision, only to regret it later? We've all been there, right? It's in those moments that we realize the importance of patience, the value of taking a step back, of considering all angles before making a choice. Wise people understand this. They know that patience isn't about being passive, it's about being deliberate. It's about choosing to act, not react. It's about understanding that sometimes the best course of action is no action at all. Patience allows us to see the bigger picture, to make decisions that are not just in our immediate self-interest, but that serve a greater good. It allows us to weather the storms of life with grace and resilience, knowing that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. Now, I know that patience can be difficult, especially in a world that's constantly bombarding us with information and demands. But it's a muscle that we can strengthen with practice. The next time you're feeling impatient, whether you're stuck in traffic or facing a difficult decision, take a deep breath and remind yourself that patience is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It's the strength to resist the urge to react impulsively, the strength to trust that things will work out in their own time, and the strength to make choices that are thoughtful, measured, and wise. Chapter 4. Never Stop Learning. Have you ever met someone who seemed to know a little bit about everything? They could talk about history, science, art, current events, always with a thoughtful perspective and a hunger to learn more. Those are the people I think of as truly wise. Not because they have all the answers, but because they're always asking questions. They understand that learning is a lifelong journey, one that never truly ends. Wise people are insatiably curious. They approach the world with a sense of wonder, always eager to explore new ideas, new cultures, new ways of thinking. They're not afraid to challenge their own beliefs, to admit when they're wrong, and to constantly seek out new knowledge. And this pursuit of knowledge isn't just about accumulating facts. It's about expanding our understanding of ourselves, of our place in the world, and of the interconnectedness of all things. It's about becoming more well-rounded, more empathetic, more compassionate human beings. So how do we cultivate this love of learning? It starts with being open to new experiences, to stepping outside of our comfort zones and embracing the unknown. Read books, watch documentaries, listen to podcasts, have conversations with people from different backgrounds. The world is full of incredible stories and perspectives just waiting to be discovered. Don't be afraid to ask questions, even if they seem silly or obvious. There's no shame in not knowing something. The real shame is in being afraid to ask. Remember, the most brilliant minds in history were driven by a thirst for knowledge. They were constantly questioning, experimenting, pushing the boundaries of what was known. So let's embrace that same spirit of curiosity. Let's never stop learning, never stop growing, and never stop striving to become the wisest, most compassionate versions of ourselves. Chapter 5. The Power of Humility. In a world that often celebrates self-promotion and bravado, humility can feel like a radical act, but it's precisely this quiet strength, this willingness to admit our own fallibility, that is a hallmark of true wisdom. Think about the people you admire most, the ones you consider truly wise. Are they arrogant and self-important, or are they humble and down to earth? My guess is, it's the latter. Wise people understand that they don't have all the answers. They're comfortable saying, I don't know, or I was wrong. They're not afraid to ask for help, to learn from their mistakes, and to acknowledge the contributions of others. Humility allows us to approach the world with an open mind and a willingness to learn. It frees us from the need to be right all the time, which, let's be honest, is an impossible standard to live up to. We're all human, we all make mistakes, and that's okay. It's what we do with those mistakes, how we learn and grow from them, that truly matters. And that requires humility. It requires the ability to set aside our egos and admit that we don't always have it all figured out. Now, humility isn't about putting ourselves down or diminishing our accomplishments. It's about recognizing that we are all part of something bigger than ourselves, that we all have something to learn from each other, and that our individual successes are often the result of the support and contributions of others. So, let's strive to be more humble, more gracious, and more forgiving, both of ourselves and of others. Let's celebrate our successes, but let's also acknowledge our failures and use them as opportunities for growth. Because true wisdom lies not in being perfect, but in embracing our imperfections and striving to be a little bit better every day. So there you have it, 5 behaviors and attitudes that can make you appear, and more importantly, become wiser. Listening more than speaking, cultivating empathy, practicing patience, embracing continuous learning, and leading with humility. These aren't just abstract concepts, they're actionable steps we can all take to live more thoughtful, more meaningful lives. And the best part is, they're not reserved for some select few. Wisdom is available to all of us, regardless of age, background, or experience. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on personal growth and wisdom. And remember, the journey to wisdom is a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, and never stop learning and growing.